What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. What's going on, guys? You guys are in here quicker and quicker every single time. Yeah, it's a very wild slate. Do not worry. We have a huge edge. Seriously, this is a really good slate to play. Really good slate. Hopefully everybody's having a great weekend. Like I said, this is going to be a great slate to play. I cannot wait to break it down for you guys. What's going on, guys? What's going on? What's going on? Great slate to play, guys. I'm telling you right now. And yes, TJ is still skiing, so he's leaving me hanging. He just texted me actually and asked if I needed any help. I'm gonna let him enjoy his time. Also, guys, please let me know if there's any updates on the slate because I'm not gonna be looking at my phone during this. I have a lot to break down for you guys. Yeah. Yep, there's a huge edge. Huge edge tonight, and different ways too. If you guys are MME players, there's going to be a huge advantage for you guys. A lot of different exposures to look at. Thank you so much, Justin. Appreciate that. Also, if you guys are new to the stream, please hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000. We are almost there, about 85% of the way there. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button, guys. We're going to be breaking down every slate, just like this, every late breaking injury news. Also, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to enter it in the chat, and I will get to them. I promise. All right, this is going to be a lot of edge, a lot of news to throw at you guys. So you guys need to pay attention, okay? Need to pay attention here. I'm going to ignore the chat here for a little bit in a few minutes while I break down everything so I don't get distracted. Michael might have read my mind, but it's all good. There's some other players I want to talk about. All right. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. I am so excited. Let's start. Let's just go chronologically. How about that? Because there's so much to break down. So I'm going to skip past the not so important games. I'm going to go straight to the chalk, okay? But doing it in chronological order here. So let's start with Dallas. As we know, Dallas is without Doncic, they're without Porzingis, they're without Powell, and they're also without Carly Stein. I crunched the numbers there. Okay, so this is what the picture is going to look like. Max Kleber here. 30 minutes, averages 1 fantasy point per minute on the dot. So he's going to be projected here at 30 fantasy points at 3.9K, 7.7. This is going to be a pace-up spot for Dallas, okay? It started out at 123. The over-under was at 123 for Dallas, but since Doncic and Porzingis, some of their biggest playmakers, aren't playing, obviously the over-under has been shifted downward, but still, 119 against a very poor defensive unit is it's still really good for Dallas. So Max Kleber here, okay? 30 points. Okay, 30 DK points is what we're projecting here at 51% smash spot. So like I said, guys, a very, very obvious play. He's going to be the highest owned on the entire slate. So especially for cash, you're going to start there with Kleber, okay? As we move down here, right, 27 minutes, averages just over a fantasy point per minute. So actually more productive than Kleber with all these injuries out. 7.5 on their sheet. Again, very high over-unders here for Dallas. So do not shy away from these guys. These guys are going to be very obvious plays for cash, for GPP as well. But as I go down the list here, I'm going to touch base on some more GPP options. Finney Smith, also a very productive player without these guys, averaging 1.03 fantasy points per minute. So Kleber, Wright, Smith, they're all averaging about the same fantasy point per minute. All right? And don't worry, guys, we just started, so you guys have got the edge already, okay? So do not worry. We'll go over all the teams, okay? And I'll give you my favorite plays at the very end of the stream. I'm going to break them all down for you guys, okay? I'm going to prioritize my favorite value plays. Do not worry. Everybody hang tight. Finney Smith is another great staple in your lineup, averaging over he's averaging 1.03 fantasy points per minute, 33 minutes. He's going to be out there the longest for these guys. Every single time Doncic and or Porzingis is out, Finney Smith always steps up. I wish I could show his stats. He got 42 the last time Doncic was out. So again, should easily hit value at 4.6. Okay, so those are my favorite Mavs to start here, and it just so happens that they're also the highest owned. So that's the only thing I don't like. Depending on who starts for Dallas, because we know that sometimes Barea draws to start. If he does, that's fantastic. I love Barea. I'm all over Barea whenever these usage monsters are out for Dallas. But if Brunson does start, definitely more of a GPP option. I wouldn't shove him in your lineup. He's not really necessary for cash, carrying 13% ownership in tournaments. So again, Brunson's more of a GPP option, but I do like some other players from these other teams more than Brunson. So if I'm building a single entry GPP or cash, I'm starting with Kleber, Wright, Finney Smith. All right, and we're also going to touch base on Seth Curry. Seth Curry has been really hot here. A 5.5 on our sheet, strictly just a GPP option. So again, just up and down here, but this is also with Doncic, so and Porzingis. So keep in mind that his production could go even higher here. Could get more shots. 5.9, 29 minutes. Also a fairly good option for GPP. Tim Hardaway is your ultimate GPP option. He's so up and down. However, his 19% ownership does scare me. Tim Hardaway is one of those players you just really can't tell what's going to happen with him. I'm going to avoid him in cash. Again, strictly GPP. He doesn't really do much without the production. It's not like he gets more shots per se. He's just a very streaky shooter, guys. And these other guys are so priced downward. I do like these other players more for value. Water break. All right. So those are my favorite plays on Dallas. All right. So now that we covered Dallas, we're going to move on here. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to enter them into the chat. Again, Kleber, Wright, Finney Smith, my favorite staples. Okay. Brunson, Curry, Hardaway, GPP. If you want to take a stab at them, you can get away with stacking 4 to 5 of these guys, okay? And cash and GPP, just because of their upside, projected at 119. Okay? Let's flip over here to Atlanta. There's not too much late-breaking injury news to shake up things. I'm just going to state that Trae Young is one of your pay-up options on the slate here, okay? GPP viable. We're going to move past them as of right now, but we're going to come back to all these studs here in just a second, because I know you guys are going to be asking me about the studs. Obviously, this is a stars and scrubs kind of night. All right, so with Phoenix, not too much to be said here. All of the injuries are back for these guys, so they have a full roster. Again, Devin Booker is another flyer. Again, pay up option just there. But again, if you're not playing Dallas, Miami, Chicago, and even Houston for your core picks, you guys are doing it wrong tonight. So again, all these guys are just GPP options. All right, these guys are just GPP options. Saric at 19 minutes is still 3 bottom of the barrel price tag. GPP, Oubre, Booker. Okay, all right. We're gonna move on to yet another chalk team here. So let's go ahead and take a look at, because honestly I forget how many all the guys that are out for Chicago. Let's go ahead and talk about them. Dunn, Markkanen, Carter, Hutchinson, Cornette, Porter, and Valentine are all out for Chicago. So let's go right back here and look at this roster. They got Gafford playing 24 minutes at bottom of the barrel price tag, 3K. He is starting. 8% ownership. The only thing that's going to scare me about this is his Ayton matchup. But again, he has to be out there. 3K, strictly GPP. I will say that. Okay? A lot of the ownership is going to go to Dallas, but I love Chicago for GPPs. All right? I love Chicago for GPPs, and one of my favorite GPP options is Satoransky here at 4.9. I do not get his price tag. I never got it. He averages over a fantasy point per minute. Again, similar to Dallas here. All these guys, so Finney Smith averages just about a fantasy point per minute. Satoransky's in that same price range. Again, a pace-up spot for Chicago, 4.9. So really, the percentage ownership doesn't make sense to me. I do like Satoransky for GPPs. He could even be cash viable if you can squeeze him in there. All right, and then Shaq Harrison, of course, 24 minutes if he's not starting. I don't think he is starting, actually. I think they announced that the starting lineup for Chicago. Let me go ahead and look here. He shouldn't be starting again. Yeah. It's not confirmed yet, but I do like Shaq Harrison, 24 minutes, 6.9. Again, these are all GPP options. Ryan, I'm not even going to butcher his last name, so don't even make me say it. We're going to call him Ryan because I've looked it up before. I know how to say it. I'm just not going to attempt to keep saying it over and over again. So Ryan for simplicity. All right, so 28 minutes, he is starting. He's not that productive of a player, just averages about 0.6, I think it's like 6.5 fantasy points per minute. So I don't mind that. Again, GPP option. Kobe White, all these guys are great value, man. If these guys, like I said in my video, if Dallas did not come out with that late-breaking injury news, these guys are all great for value. And even more so in GPPs. So you could get away. Let's just hypothetically say that Dallas does not hit that 119 over-under. Let's say they only get to like 110. Chicago happens to go over that. These guys will benefit you by just stacking these guys, these low-value studs from Chicago. I do like these guys for GPPs. Kobe White, these guys are all great pivots. Kobe White here, 34 minutes, has been up and down lately. I do like him, 6.4, 6.3 for Thad Young. As we know, Thad Young was in our cash lineup last time, 2 nights ago. 48 points, went ballistic. So again, I love Chicago and Dallas. You can literally get away from playing Dallas and Chicago for your entire DK roster for cash and you could cash easily. I'm telling you right now, okay? Zach LaVine's definitely going to be a GPP option. 26% ownership does scare me. There's going to be some better pay-up options. I'm going to go over them in just a second. But guys, do not overthink this. Please do not overthink this. Start with those Dallas core guys that I mentioned. Come back with Chicago. Start some Miami guys. We're going to go over them in just a second, and I'll tell you what studs to pay up for. All right. Water break. Do not overthink this slate. The value's here. Anybody that goes outside of these games, they're going to lose. This next team I want to talk about here. Hold on. Not NAB. NBA. All right, let's talk about this. Cleveland is without Kevin Love, and I want to show you this chart real quick. Okay, for you guys who don't know, this Popcorn Machine NBA does go over rotations. It goes over rotations based on the previous games. Okay, everybody pay attention to this right now. Okay, I'm telling you, there's a huge edge in this game. If you're looking for GPP leverage, I'm telling you right now, this could be a game to target because I'm still waiting for these minutes to update, and it's not making sense. So let's go over Cleveland. Everybody stay put. Don't worry, guys. I'll recap everything at the end of the video. You guys aren't going to miss anything. All right. Obviously, without Kevin Love, not too much changes. I updated everything in the Discord. I updated everything in the YouTube video. I explained why. Not everybody gets a slight boost in usage, but not anybody in particular. Nance actually doesn't get that much of a boost other than minutes. Okay, again, this is a pace down spot for Cleveland against Miami. So keep that in mind. Okay? Because again, these other guys and these other value picks are in pace-up spots. If you start anybody from Cleveland, if you start people like, if you stack Garland, Osman, Porter over these other value picks, and they go under 104 guys, it's going to hurt you. And there's a huge probability that might happen because Miami is a very, very good defensive team. All right? But here is one thing I noticed. Okay, so if we look here, Cleveland is without Windler. They're without Kevin Love. And they're without McKinney. Okay? And I'm going to show you guys this. Yes, Nance is going to carry some ownership, but again, he's only 13%. He's not going to be that chalk, guys. I'm telling you right now. You guys can start him. He's not that bad of a play, but again, this is a slow pace. This is a pace down spot. Yes, he's in a good matchup, but that's the only thing he's got going for him. Nance isn't a bad cash play, okay? So stop yelling at me. All right, but here it is. So you guys know this. Like I said, Windler, Love, and McKinney are out. Okay? Let's look at this rotation for Cleveland. The last game they played against the Hawks. Okay, Andre Drummond started. This guy right now, Andre Drummond, is only playing... Let me get it over here so I can flip back and forth. So this guy right here, Drummond, is only projected at 29 minutes tonight, even without Kevin Love. He's only been getting 21, 22 minutes. The last 2 games, he hasn't been in foul trouble, okay? For whatever reason, matchups, I don't know. He hasn't been playing that much minutes, okay? Regardless, let's say he does play 34 minutes. Okay, that's cool. But guess what? Right now, Roto is projecting the minutes. They're projecting the minutes based on recency, rotations, and what has happened in the past couple contests, okay? But they aren't factoring in this one simple fact. When the last game, McKinney also played, okay? His direct substitution was Larry Nance. And if you look here, if I can find them. And Tristan Thompson was also a sub. So it goes from McKinney down low, Nance, and Drummond. Tristan Thompson is the direct sub for McKinney and Drummond. Okay? So what I'm assuming is because McKinney's also not in that rotation. You take their down low rotations. McKinney is not there anymore. Tristan Thompson is only projected at 22 minutes. Let's look at his minutes the past couple contests. He's got 25 and 26. But right now, even without McKinney, he's projected at 22 minutes. That's shifting his fantasy point production. Roto has him projected at 19.65. Okay? That is way too low. If you're telling me Tristan Thompson's only going to get 22 minutes tonight against somebody like Adebayo and going to have to match up well against these guys, against a good defensive team, then you're crazy. I think that Roto Grinders is projecting his minutes way off. I think he's going to get upward, if not at least 25 minutes, and he's got to be on the court. He's projected at 0.25% right now. Huge GPP play. Okay, the direct sub for McKinney was Tristan Thompson the past 2 contests. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there, that Tristan Thompson's minutes do not make sense on Roto Grinders right now. Even when McKinney was playing last game, he still got 26 and 25 minutes. I'm just saying. So I know it's a stretch, and I know 4.9 might be a little scary just based on his his minutes previously, 26 and 25. But look, he got 35 and he got 47. His price tag is now down to 4.9. All right, so there's another GPP play. I'm going to have a little bit of exposure to Tristan Thompson, and I guarantee you, he's going to do fairly well with the minutes given. All right, but guys, like Larry Nance here, again, a 0.83 fantasy point per minute player, 23, 52 when he played, I think that was without Drummond. There was a lot of injuries out for him. So I'm not saying he can't play, but again, that was a pace-up spot. He was in a pace-up game against here Washington, okay? So he's an okay play. But again, just look at the ownership. It's only 13%. There's a lot of value in these other games. I'm just saying the upside there is going to be capped. All right, so that's my rant, and that's a huge edge. I just wanted to point that out, okay? So hopefully you guys can take advantage of that Tristan Thompson pick, and when he scores under 20 points, just pretend I never said it. And I keep updating these minutes, and I keep refreshing the page. I'm telling you guys right now, for some reason, at this percentage ownership, if Tristan Thompson's really at 1%, I'm going to probably have about 20-30% shares of him. I can guarantee you. All right, let's go over to Miami. So Miami is without Butler. They're without Leonard. They're without Alexander and Hero. So we just take those guys off the court. There's no surprise that Dragic is going to pop the most. He averages over a fantasy point per minute, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. But the thing with Dragic is he's going to be fairly chalky. So I do recommend him for cash. I don't know how I'm going to approach him in GPPs. I know that Dragic is really good without Butler. Again, this is a pace-up spot versus Cleveland, so I do suspect he'll be out on the floor a lot. I do like that. I do like Dragic here and cash. I think he's a great cash play. Duncan Robinson, not that productive of a player. I'm going to go ahead and go past him. Again, 4.5 isn't that bad of a price tag, but I do like Dragic a lot more. Derrick Jones is 6.5 on our sheet. Again, all these Miami players are great. You need, in cash, to stack, let me just say it again. You need to stack Dallas. You need to stack Chicago and Miami. If anybody outside of that is played other than Tristan Thompson and GPPs, you're doing it wrong. And of course, I'm not talking about the studs. I'm talking about your value mid-range players. These guys should all be stacked in cash and GPPs, honestly. Okay? So I'm giving you my strategy. This is what I'm doing tonight. Okay? Bam Adebayo averages 1.4 fantasy points per minute without Jimmy Butler. Obviously, another great play going against Drummond. They're both going to have to be out there a lot. Whether that be Drummond or Tristan Thompson, they're going to have size that match Adebayo. I do like Adebayo tonight. And with there being a high-owned Rudy Gobert, I think Bam Adebayo is a great pivot. If you're looking for lower ownership, I do like Adebayo tonight. Against Cleveland, 6.2 on our sheet. And of course, Iggy here at 22 minutes. He's been playing really well since he's been in Miami. 3.4, another great value play. I keep saying all these value plays. You guys are still probably waiting on my favorite ones. I will get to that in just a second. All right. Moving along here. Yep, we still got a lot to talk about. Don't worry. So nothing's going on with Philly. I think Josh Richardson is your only guy. He's going to be at 3% owned. Another good GPP option. I'm not really intrigued with anybody here in Philly. Giannis. Okay, let's talk about Giannis real quick. Giannis right now is the highest projected owned stud, and for good reason. He's against Philly. They're obviously going to be going back and forth tonight. They should. Philly is only a 9-point dog, which is actually pretty crazy for Philly these days. It's in Milwaukee, so I do suspect Giannis has been on a tear lately, and it's really hard for me to fade him. So in cash, I will say this. All right, I'm just gonna say this again. Dallas, Miami, Chicago for value. Really, honestly, does not matter. As long as you start with those three guys in Dallas that I said. It doesn't matter where you go after that because they're all really safe. It's kind of hard to pinpoint which guys are going to do well. You can go off matchup, that's fine. And then come back with Giannis as your stud. There's your cash lineup. It's literally that easy. And you guys, if you guys in GPPs want to run a couple different lineups, mix and match a couple of those value plays, I'll go over my favorite ones. I'll give you my personal favorite ones. But again, you can't go wrong with that strategy tonight. That is your edge. Okay? And you're probably sitting here saying, no duh. Well, guess what? The casual DFS player will go outside of these games and they will stack people like in Charlotte and Brooklyn. They'll say, well, what about Kyrie Irving? What about him being out for Brooklyn? I'm telling you, the safer plays right here tonight are in Miami, Dallas, and Chicago. Thank you, Sacred, for the subscription. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. All right. So now let's move down the line here. Like I said, Giannis is going to be the highest owned stud. So for cash, target him, okay? But for GPPs, this is where it's going to start getting interesting, okay? If you guys want more edge, here it comes. Eric Gordon is questionable right now, at least the last time I checked. Can you guys please confirm that for me? Eric Gordon is still questionable. Huge edge, because if you... Let's say you put Eric Gordon in your lineup. Okay, let's just hypothetically say, and he still pops really well on our sheet. A 7.1, 3.6K, bottom of the barrel price tag. I get it's a pace down spot, but it's also a competitive game, so they should play the full minutes. Okay? So if you have Gordon in your lineup match with somebody like Harden and Westbrook as your pay-up option, as opposed to Giannis, if Gordon is ruled out, guess what? That's perfect because that means Harden gets a usage boost. That means Westbrook gets a huge usage boost. You guys might want to hold off here. 10.9 price tag is a price decrease. You guys might want to hold off in GPPs on playing Giannis in that late game because these guys could really be your edge. Harden or Westbrook, they get a very good usage boost against Utah. The last time Harden played against Utah was about 4 games ago. I usually don't go with recency bias, but the last time, again, pretty safe 66.5 points. So he's fully capable of putting up points against Utah. Utah does not scare me. Their defense does not scare me when you're talking about somebody like Harden or Westbrook. Okay, it would scare me against some of these mediocre players. But again, James Harden, somebody who penetrates and gets to the hole a lot, should really put somebody like Gobert in foul trouble down low. So I do like James Harden. I like him in general. I like him as a good pivot, but it could really, really benefit you if Eric Gordon's rolled out, because Eric Gordon does carry a lot of usage. Okay, so I'm not saying go all in on Harden. I'm saying if you're playing MME and if you have a decent amount of exposure and a couple of your other lineups, I do like Harden as a nice pivot to Giannis. Okay, we know that Giannis is going to be he's going to be going against a good defense in Philly. Obviously, Giannis is on a whole different level. I'm not saying he's going to struggle, but if he does have a ceiling game of, let's say, 60 points and he's at 11.2, Harden could easily beat that at 10.9. He's also cheaper. All right, so that's all I'm going to say. And Westbrook's the exact same situation, 9.8. He got a price decrease, but I do like Harden more. I usually do like Harden more just because he has a higher ceiling. Harden's that entire team, at least for offense. Westbrook has his up and down moments, but I do like Harden just for consistency. If Eric Gordon is rolled out, there's a lot to change on this roster. A lot more value plays. Let's go to Utah. There's a lot of undervalued Utah plays, but again, all GPP except for Gobert. Gobert is showing the highest ownership for centers. In cash, I'd say go ahead and play him just because of ownership, but in GPPs, like I said, I like Bam Adebayo as a nice pivot. A very good pivot. I know he's a little bit more expensive, but Bam Adebayo is a lot lesser owned than Gobert, so I do like that. Joe Ingles, 4.8K, also showing in a very good matchup against Houston. I do like him if you're looking for more mid-range options for GPPs. But again, these guys are a little over-owned just because they're in a passive spot. But again, you're going to be going with these value plays in those games that I mentioned earlier. All right, so just GPPs again. We know that Conley is back, so again, all these price tags are adjusted. Royce O'Neal is no longer in the picture. I said Royce O'Neal on the stream yesterday, guys. Hopefully you played him because he went absolutely berserk at like 8% ownership. All right. So for everybody just joining the stream, thank you again for your support. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I will be doing this every single night and help you guys get the edge. So let's just recap, okay? I'm going to refresh my page just to make sure I have all the ownership, right? But let's just recap here. That's my old build. Doncic is not in the lineup anymore. Let's recap here. For cash, you have to start with the Dallas guys. Kleber, Finney Smith, and Wright. Those are my favorite guys. Actually, my favorite value plays on the entire slate. Okay? For cash, you have to play the stud. If you're paying up for anybody, it's going to be Giannis. Okay? I like Giannis and Gobert. If you can fit Gobert in there, those are your high-owned guys. Now is where you get the edge. Start shoving in guys here like Satoransky, even Thad Young. All of these Chicago Bulls. Kobe White you could get away with. Gafford is another great play. Just start shoving in all this Chicago value, and then also you can get away with playing people like Dragic. Dragic is another great cash play. He's going to be highly owned at 26% in tournaments, so that translates to about 40 to 50% in cash. Okay? That is your approach for cash. For GPPs, like I said, James Harden is a great pivot off of Giannis, regardless. But if Eric Gordon is out, you can wait it out. If Eric Gordon is ruled out, that's just more usage for you guys. Yes, Reddish is starting. Reddish is actually not that bad of a play either. But again, I'm just going to keep saying that the value in these other games are a lot better. All right. So now that I went over cash, is everybody, are we on the same page as far as cash? Everybody's lineup should look relatively the same from everybody from the stream. All their lineups should look relatively the same tonight. Okay? I need to see a bunch of our logo here at the top for double ups. My favorite GPP options. Like I said, Harden. Adebayo is great for leverage against Gobert. Hopefully he can keep up with Gobert tonight. He should. A lot of the usage does go to Adebayo without Jimmy Butler. Satoransky is a great GPP option. So is Thaddeus Young. Again, these guys, I feel like they are cash viable at this point. Okay? Because they're so obvious to me. Eric Gordon, if he plays, is going to carry 2% ownership at 3.6K. Are you kidding me? At least have 10% exposure to him. At least. Thank you for the subscription. Really appreciate that. Great, Rashad. Thank you so much. Couldn't read. Yeah, so those are my favorite GPP plays. Dragic, again, a great cash/GPP play. Russell Westbrook, another great GPP option. Zach LaVine, I'm not too intrigued about. If you want to shove him into your cash lineup, again, that's fine. I can get behind that. Spencer Dinwiddie, just GPP. Let's keep looking here. Look, so just to show you guys on their models, doesn't really agree with the ownership for Giannis, for leverage anyway. But like I said, please play him in cash. Giannis is going to carry a lot of ownership, about 50+%. So would I prefer Young over Nance? Yes. I do like Young over Nance. I don't like Nance for his upside. The only reason I'd play Nance is because of his ownership. But look, nothing too happy to be, or nothing to be intrigued about here. I like Gafford too, guys. I like all these Bulls, and I like all of these Mavericks. The only people I really don't like it for the Mavericks, and it's not that I don't like him, it's just that they're so streaky, is Seth Curry and Hardaway. Those are the only guys they're just, they're hit or miss. That's the only thing. Shaq Harrison's another great play. Guys, you can't go wrong with all this value in these 3 games. It just makes, it makes me happy because tonight's going to be a good night. But yeah, I mean, very straightforward slate. But again, I had to get all that out, guys. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to start answering questions. Very fun slate. Very fun slate. Again, if you're playing GPPs, I do recommend, if you aren't going the Giannis route, hold off on playing. If you're going, go ahead and play Eric Gordon and James Harden, because if Eric Gordon's ruled out, you have huge leverage with James Harden, and they play late, so that's really good leverage. This is where somebody playing on Draftkings can definitely get the edge. All right, guys, start firing away your questions. I'm going to go ahead and start going through them. I'm going to start touching base on a couple of outside GPP flyers. If you guys want to stay around for that, go ahead and send your lineups in the chat. I love answering questions, and I love seeing all the lineups, the different combinations that you guys come up with. So with Brooklyn, there was actually some good GPP options here. Taurean Prince at 4.2. 30 minutes is a fairly productive player without Kyrie Irving. Thank you, Mike, for the subscription. Really appreciate that. 6.2. Garrett Temple, also not a bad spot here. 6.1, another good GPP option. And same thing with Joe Harris. This is going to be a slight pace down spot for Brooklyn. But again, we know Charlotte does play very, very horrible outside wing defense. So I do like shooters from Brooklyn for GPPs. All right. Dinwiddie's also not that bad. Again, there's if you look at this, like if the value wasn't in Dallas, Chicago, and Miami, if you guys look at this point per dollar value, 6.2, 6.1, these guys were the first team that I looked at when I was doing my early video. By the way, I did that at 4 a.m. I went to sleep for like the next 3 hours after that. Just looking at this team, I was getting excited. I was like, oh, okay, there's already an edge. I do like Brooklyn. And then I just kept going on and on and on. And then the injury news came out. And then I was like, okay, it's throwing my whole strategy out of whack. All right, so yeah, so that's Brooklyn. Those are my favorite GPP options. Terry Rozier, another GPP option. It's showing actually him carrying some decent ownership. So, I mean, I don't see the hype. I get it's a pace-up spot, but we know Rozier, man. He's just not that productive a player. Averages like 0.91 fantasy points per minute, 23, 22, 20. It's yuck. It's kind of gross. Cody Martin, actually not that bad. Showing very low ownership here. 3.5, playing 26 minutes. Not a bad GPP option. Again, also, sorry, I meant to come back to Atlanta. Atlanta, Cam Reddish, as it was mentioned by somebody here in the chat, not a bad GPP option. I do like Reddish. It does benefit without Hunter in the lineup. So I do like Reddish. 32 minutes, not a bad option. If he gets hot, stays hot. Obviously a good play. Trae Young, another pay-up option. Again, Atlanta actually, their over-under went up, so they're in more of a pace-up spot. Trae Young, another great pivot. If you guys aren't looking for Giannis or Harden, Trae Young sitting here at 14%, and we know what Trae Young can do. Okay, going against Dallas, it's a shame that Doncic isn't in the lineup because it would have been fun to watch his two go at it. But again, Trae Young does have upside tonight as well. How do I feel about Zeller for value? Good question. In a good matchup. I actually mentioned him on the video. So, like I said, a great matchup. So many center options. If you want to play Cody Zeller, I can see just in GPPs though. Not a bad GPP option. There's so many good plays tonight, guys. So many good plays. Who haven't I touched base on? Yeah, nobody from Philly intrigues me. They have Glenn Robinson here at 26 minutes, which actually was getting me excited, but he hasn't played 26 minutes in the past 3 contests. I don't know what is up with Roto Grinder's minute projections today. Does somebody know something that I don't know? Because, again, like, there's no injuries. Am I going crazy? He hasn't played 26 minutes in the past 3 contests. I don't know. Maybe there's some inside information. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't know. All right. Yeah. Sorry, I was in number crunching mode, and I was ignoring the entire chat that entire the first 30 minutes of the stream. So I'm gonna get to you guys in just a second. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Giannis is the only play here that I really like. George Hill, obviously another GPP option, but he never gets minutes. I'm going to refresh my page, make sure all the percentage ownership is updated, and then run 150 lineups just to make sure we are on top of everything. And I will go ahead and start answering questions. So let's build 150 lineups, make sure everything is right. It looks like the percentage ownership hasn't changed. Oh, well, Trae Young went up a little bit. Okay, so this is changing just a tad. All right. After this builds, guys, I will get to all the questions. All right. Ownership. I've looked at this so many times that I can tell if it's off. So Dragic is actually popping more in our models now. So that makes Dragic a good GPP option now. Okay. Kobe White. Interesting. Okay. So let me start answering questions here. Jay Crowder for GPP. Well, let's look. Because I believe his minutes still were not solid. Oh, 31 minutes. Yeah, the only thing with Jay Crowder, I do like him. I like him for GPPs. The only thing with Jay Crowder is I'm still confused about his role with the team. I usually don't like taking players where I don't have solid statistics to back it up, but in his small stint with Miami, he's been doing fairly well. So yeah, I mean, I'll have a decent amount of exposure to him, but at 5% ownership, certainly a good GPP option. But like I said, you can't go wrong with stacking these the Miami team. So if you want to pick Crowder, I won't hate you for it. Royce again. No, I don't like Royce O'Neal because Conley is back. Don't go off recency bias. The only reason he did do well is because Conley was out and he was getting 34 minutes. He's getting 9 less minutes now, 25 minutes. Not that fairly productive of a player. Is probably not starting now, so I'm off Royce O'Neal. What do you guys think about Gafford? Yeah, Gafford's a great play. He is starting, and like I said, he has to be out on the court to go against Ayton. Gafford's not a bad spot. I do like bottom of the barrel price tags in general, so 3K, definitely intriguing for him. Again, I do like him. Who should we lock from Dallas? I've answered this before, but I'm sorry if you weren't here for it. I will go back and I will tell you. From Dallas, we are locking the 3, Kleber, Finney-Smith, and Delon Wright. Their price tags are very intriguing to me. Have plenty of upside. Averaging all around the fantasy point per minute. Thanks, everybody, for joining today, by the way. I really appreciate the turnout here. Just over 200 viewers, so I do appreciate it. Levert, Rozier. Okay, okay, this is GPP. Levert, Rozier, Oubre, Nance, Adebayo, Westbrook, Kleber, Gafford. Get more exposure to that Miami, Chicago, and Dallas game, please. Even with GPPs. Okay, get more exposure to that. I say a majority of your lineup has to be from that game if you guys want to play it safe. It's going to be very hard to predict any other statistics outside of those games because those games are going to be very predictable. No worries, man. I understand you guys are coming in late. You guys are bouncing in and out. You guys have lives too. I get it. Oh, sorry, Sano. I didn't see your line. Let me scroll up here. Sadaransky. So no, I've noticed this about your lineups. You always have Satoransky in your lineup, and I appreciate it. He always goes overlooked. Satoransky, Wright, Finney-Smith, Kleber, Thompson. You're listening, man. I appreciate it. You're ride or die with the Thompson pick. I appreciate it. Harden, Giannis. You can get both those in your lineup? Thad Young. Okay. I see you. All right, we'll see how that pays off. I like that a lot. Sano. I need your honest opinion about Duncan Robinson. He plays 35 plus minutes. Duncan Robinson is just a shooter. That's the only thing that really concerns me about him. He averages 0.74 fantasy points per minute, even with all the injuries off. He has high upside just because of his minutes, and if he gets hot. But again, like, his upside is kind of capped. I mean, and it's so volatile. I get it. 28, 25. I mean, that's barely hitting value for 4.5. 4.5 is 22.5. Like I said, he's so up and down. 35, 36. Definitely a GPP option. So, again, just a lot of up and down for Duncan Robinson. But I mean, again, like I said, you can't go wrong with these Heat. If you want to play Duncan Robinson, feel free to play Duncan Robinson. A lot of these guys will have very high floors, just in general. Gotta have both tonight. I like Westbrook and Giannis. Yeah, I mean, definitely. If you can get those two guys in your lineup, sure. Absolutely. It's going to be a stars and scrubs kind of night. Feel free to shove two stars in your lineup. Feel free. It's going to come down to picking the right one because, you know, Trae Young, Giannis, Westbrook, and Harden are all on the slate, and you can even talk about Embiid at that point. One of those guys is going to go off, and it's going to make or break the slate. It's going to be one of those guys is going to be a slate breaker. It's going to be annoying too. So I'm going to have exposure to all of them, of course. I'm going to try to match the field on a couple of them. Go overweight. My Patreon team, guys, you guys have the edge. You'll see which one I'm going overweight on. And I'm going to be updating that all the way up through lock. Trae, Garland, Harden. Trae, Garland, Harden, LeVert, Crowder, Hold up. You have Trae, Harden, and Giannis in your lineup. Kleber, O'Neal, Tristan. I don't like O'Neal. I see you trying to make it happen, but I don't like O'Neal. Is Jalen Brunson a must in most teams? No, Jalen Brunson's not a must. Again, I'm still waiting for that lineup. We've seen Barea. Let's keep getting updates, okay? We've seen Barea start whenever Doncic and Porzingis is out, and if Barea does play, and if he does start, and I like him in starter minutes, he is phenomenal. I do like Barea. He's very, very aggressive on that team. So if he does start, I like him. If Brunson starts, he's an okay play, but at 5K, I mean, you definitely don't need him. Dragic, right? Middleton, Thad Young, Bam, Harden, Kleber, Gafford. If that's GPP, I can get behind that. If Philly can keep it close, Middleton could end up being a decent play. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. How do you feel on Ingles? Yeah, definitely for GPPs only. He's carrying 18% ownership, so a little bit higher than I'd like it to be. If he was carrying lower ownership, I would be more on him, actually. Would you play Dragic and none together? I would play, because the volatility in general of NBA, and because Miami and Dallas are so close and over-under, you could get away with stacking a lot of these players from the same team. But I do recommend a decent mixture of these guys. Guys, don't get too pretty. Please stack these guys. Please stack these teams. Miami, Dallas, and Chicago. Don't go outside of them for at least your core. If you're going to play a couple players here and there from outside of this game, sure. But these guys will get you to the cash tonight. The only way they don't is if they score under 100 points, and they probably won't. All these guys are projected a nice over-under, including Chicago. LeVert, Rozier, Oubre, Nance, Adebayo, Westbrook, Kleber, Gafford, GPP. LeVert, Rozier. Again, I'm going to say get more exposure to those games. All right, Anchor, I'm going to get to your FanDuel here. I'm going to assume that, or I'm going to at least pretend like I'm doing this from DraftKings pricing. Brunson, Westbrook, Harden. You're getting both of them. Okay. Levine, Finney-Smith, Ingles, Young, Kleber, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, that's not a bad GPP line. That's not bad. You're basically banking on Houston going over that 115, and that could end up paying off for you. But that's aggressive. That's aggressive. Takes a lot of guts. All right, let me scroll down here. All right. Trey, Harden, Finney, Bogdanovich, Kleber, Satoransky, Thaddeus Young, Gafford, GPP. Bogdanovich. It's not bad. Yeah, I can get behind that. Bogdanovich scares me, but that's it. But again, it's GPP. What about Bledsoe at all? Bledsoe's price tag actually wasn't too bad the last time I looked at it. Let's look at it again. 6.9. So, I mean, GPP only. 4% ownership. Definitely not in cash. Is Deadman in play tonight? Not with all his value. No, I mean, he's too volatile for me. Satoransky, Wright, Finney-Smith, Kleber, Gafford, Russ, Giannis, Bam, GPP. I love that. Harrison, Harden, Jones Jr., Kleber, Gafford, Dragic, Giannis, Bam. Okay, I like that. Can you fit in all three studs? I don't even know. If you can, go for it. That sounds like fun. All right. Slothy here. Ayton, Bam, Drummond. Oh, you're asking me to pick some. I prefer Bam Adebayo the most out of those. It starts to get tough because Drummond's minutes have been fluctuating. I don't like him because of that reason. If I had to pick another one, I know Embiid's going to be in a very... Yeah, I'm going to say Embiid. I think Embiid's going to be my other favorite one. But I do like Bam a lot more than those other three. Rozier, Harden, Finney-Smith, Kleber. Did I ever answer that one? I feel like I did. No, I didn't. Rozier, Harden, Finney-Smith, Kleber, Gafford, Satoransky, Giannis, Dragic, GPP. Yeah, that's not bad. I like that. Yeah, sure. I can touch base on that. So what I'm saying for DraftKings, this is DraftKings specific. Let me get my water. So, especially if you're playing, if you're playing one lineup and you want to take the strategy, by all means, feel free. I'm going to be doing this in a couple of my lineups. I'm going to have enough exposure to Eric Gordon and Harden. So let's just say I'm playing single entry and I'm fading Giannis. I'm going the Harden route. I have Harden and Eric Gordon in my lineup. Okay, so if for some reason Eric Gordon does play, that's great. I have him in my lineup at very low ownership. But if he's not, okay, I can pivot to another Houston Rocket in that same position. You can go like somebody like Austin Rivers. You can switch around your lineup. Hopefully it comes out a little bit quicker. But then you have exposure to James Harden, which is a huge usage monster. That's why late night pivots, you guys have seen me do it before, especially with that New Orleans. I know you guys remember that night where I pivoted, literally stacked the entire New Orleans Pelicans lineup and it went bananas. But this is good because you can do late night pivots where you have Harden and you have exposure to Gordon, and you can pivot to other Houston players if he is ruled out, because it makes them very good plays if Eric Gordon is rolled out, and plus Harden is a great play as well. I wouldn't fade Giannis in cash though. Please start Giannis in cash. He's going to carry good ownership. I'm scared about his ownership. And Giannis has just been playing phenomenal. I can't get away from fading him in cash tonight. Best two cheap players. My favorite two cheap players. I had the list up here. I don't know why I got off. My favorite two cheap players. If you would consider Finney-Smith a cheap player, I like Kleber and Finney-Smith. Those are my favorite. Finney-Smith balls out without Doncic and Porzingis. Floppy asks, Dragic, right? Simmons, okay. Kleber, Bam, Satoransky, Giannis, Gafford, GPP. Okay, I can see that. Simmons is the only guy I'm scared of, but again, GPP, that's fine. Westbrook, Temple, okay. Finney-Smith, Giannis, Bam, Dragic, Kleber, Gafford. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. You guys are finally stacking these teams that I mentioned. Good job. Good job to everybody. Why would you play Eric Gordon? Because he's 3.6K and he's going to carry 1% ownership in GPPs. That's why you play Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon is not a bad player, and they're playing small ball. They're playing at a higher pace. Like I said, 3.6 would cover the 21.5, 24, 21, 27. I can keep going if you want me to. 70. He's not a bad player. I know that one time he definitely screwed us. I think it was the Phoenix game, 5.2, where he got 8.75. He got injured. Come on, he got injured. He didn't play bad. I do like Eric Gordon for value, especially at his ownership. Giannis kills the Sixers. What is MME? MME is mass multi-entry. So it means playing more than one GPP lineup. Single entry GPP lineup means you're playing one lineup. Mass multi-entry means you're playing... there's really no specific definition. I consider it like anything more than 10. So if you're playing MME, that means you're playing a lot of lineups to try to get that first place prize. Sadaransky, Wright, Finney, Giannis, Bam, Harrison, Kleber, and Embiid. That's a nice GPP line. If that is GPP, you didn't specify. Jojo, Sadaransky, or Jojo's asking, Sadaransky, Brunson, LeVert, Harden, Giannis, Gafford, Kleber, and Embiid. Is that just the same lineup I read? No, it's not. Yeah, that's not bad either. Can Gobert keep up with the small Rockets lineup? That's the question. That's why I'm scared away from his percentage, at least in GPPs. 42% is very, very high, especially for somebody like Gobert. Gobert never really has big ceiling games. That's why he's concerning. Bam, as we know, does. He actually had a recent one at like 70 DK points. So that's the only thing that does scare me about Gobert. I mean, it's 42% still. I get it. It's prime matchup, but 7.8K, I think people are overreacting a little bit to his price tag. So, exactly. Gil? Gil. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good strategy. That's what I recommend. At least for a couple GPPs. Don't go crazy with that strategy. Because Giannis is still a great play tonight. But if you have a little bit of Harden exposure, then do that. Donovan Mitchell or Middleton? Good question. Let's take a look. All right, Middleton. Middleton is priced at 8.1. And if you're talking about straight up or just for value, I like Donovan Mitchell more. I do like Donovan Mitchell more. It's a higher pace up spot for him. But straight up, Middleton. Sado, Wright, Finney, Thad Young, Kleber. Is that Davis? Davis, I'm assuming, but I don't know what Davis. Trey and Giannis GPP. I like everybody but Dravis. You just put your lineup again. I know you did. You didn't mean to put Dravis. Dragic. There you go. Yeah. So Dragic. Yeah, I like that. GPP. Good job stacking these teams. This is safe. Okay. This is the safest bet. Gonna get you in the cash. Am I missing any more questions here? Bogdanovich. Yeah. Oh, I touched base on Bogdanovich a little bit earlier. Not too intriguing. I mean, 6.5 is just a little pricey. Like, it's a good matchup. I get you guys are probably ending. A lot of you guys are just ending up on him. I do like Bogdanovich because of his matchup, but 6.5 is just it's a little scary. He'd have to have a ceiling game for him to make sense. So if you're playing single entry, do I have to be contrarian? You have to be contrarian somewhere. A couple of your players at least. It depends on how big the contests are too. So if you're playing like 100 to 400 people, you can get away with playing like a cash lineup in there and it just doing very well. Going contrarian in a couple spots. Am I playing Levine? It depends on what you're talking about. Like if I'm going to have exposure to Levine, I'll have a little bit. I'm not too crazy about Levine. I think Levine's a good play, but there's some better plays in my opinion. Playing Thompson in my single entry. I told you guys why. If you guys want me to go back through Thompson, I can tell you why. Because McKinney is out, and again, these minutes aren't updated for Thompson. Look at his recent performances. He played 26 and 25 minutes because Drummond has not been playing. If you guys want to play this really safe, you could play Drummond and Thompson in the same lineup. Then you're guaranteed minutes. Because you don't really know what's going to happen with these minutes. He's playing 21, 22, 28 minutes. It's so weird. Very weird. And then Thompson, if he is getting good minutes, and even if he's not, I mean, 4.9 is still a good price, an easy price tag for him to get against. If he's going against somebody like Adebayo down low, he should be playing Adebayo or their backups. I mean, there's a lot of size in Miami, so. And the direct sub for him was McKinney. So that's why I like Tristan Thompson, because McKinney is out. I don't know if Roto Grinders, if they just priced or they miss projected their minutes or what. But I don't know what the deal is. Regardless, I think that 22 minutes doesn't make sense. I mean, you guys see it, right? Am I crazy? 26, 25. And Kevin Love and McKinney are out. Why is he only projected at 22 minutes? I don't know. I'm willing to take the risk on it. Trae Young's 80 points tonight, hopefully. I keep landing on Booker. How do you feel about him? Not a bad play. I don't hate Booker. Booker 112 again. 7.9 is a decrease. Should be a decently. It's an average spot, it looks like, but the entire team's back, so it should take away from his usage a little bit. But we know Booker is heavily dependent on shots too. So if he does get hot, I do like him. Jordan gonna put up 40 again. No, but do you know what I did see? Like, he is in a good matchup. They have been playing him a lot more. If you want to take a stab at him in GPPs, I saw that Jarrett Allen was 4.3. That's kind of funny. An analyst from Roto Grinders recommended we play Jarrett Allen on the last slate. He got 12 minutes and put up 1.5. Ouch. I won't say who it was. Yeah, Jarrett Allen has taken the backseat. This DJ's been playing very well. Yeah, what is up with that? I mean, come on, Roto. Get it together. I might be going crazy. Tristan Thompson could be playing only 22 minutes, but again, even if he does only play 22 minutes, I still like it. You guys have seen his output recently without K-Love. GPP 7,700 in the util spot. Let's see what we're looking at here. I'd have to see the rest of your lineup to really make a solid recommendation. But 7.7. I do like Dinwiddie. Yeah, that's the first guy I see. I like Dinwiddie, and I also like Mitchell. I like both those guys. Dinwiddie's playing without Irving, so he averages 1.22 fantasy points per minute. He's pretty productive against a soft defense. Single entry GPP. I have Harden, Giannis, Satoransky, Kleber, Wright, Tristan Thompson, Finney Smith. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Good lineup. Rozier, Gordon, if he plays, or Dragic, Temple. Let me ask you this. Can you get Dragic and Gordon in there? Because if so, I like that a lot more. But I will say, that's tough. I will say Rozier, Gordon for GPPs. Just because they're going to be Gordon's going to be virtually unknown tonight. Any LOL tonight? I'm running LOL right now. I run esports, guys. If you haven't already, view my League of Legends video. I break down how you guys play the slate, and I know a lot of guys in our Discord have been kind of benefiting off the strategy I posted on it, and it's just free money. It pretty much is, guys. I mean, I'm telling you right now, these niche sports, they're so small, and there's a lot of edge on these types of sports, these slates. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off. Again, I appreciate your support. We got up over 200 viewers. It's the weekend, so have a great rest of your weekend. And, guys, I want to see the screenshots you guys send me at the very end of the night. I know a lot of us are going to cash. I know we're going to have a very good night unless somehow all of these Miami players get injured or these Chicago players or Dallas players. There's no reason these guys should not hit value. I mean, they have to not hit every single one of their shots for these guys to not hit value. Okay? I will update anything if there's late-breaking injury news in Discord, on Twitter, and most importantly on Patreon, okay? If you guys haven't already, if you guys still want the edge and you guys are having trouble making your lineups, again, I post my favorite plays and there's general strategy. I even have a tutorial video on YouTube on how to utilize my Patreon tool. If you guys are still struggling on how to do that, visit Patreon. I've got some positive feedback from those guys, and I'm not only going to be doing it for basketball, I'm going to be doing it for other sports I have an edge in, like baseball, and maybe even some League of Legends. So you guys are in for a treat. Again, it's $20 a month, and again, it's Patreon, so it's a stream supporter tool. The reason that you guys give me that, those $20 is to support the stream, obviously to keep it going. It's not to pay for the GPP cheat sheet. So again, I really appreciate all your tips and just all your support in general, guys. So with that being said, guys, have a great night. I will talk to you guys after the slate, and let's cash.